it's now a question of who will be celebrating leaving Bilbao as the championship leader. Will it be Adam Raga, or will it be Toni Bo, who came into this event tied on points, remember? Raga with a golden opportunity in the 2019 World Championship to take the fight to Bo this season.
Adam Raga will be going first based on the scores from the heats. They both finished with 6 marks, but Bo had the fastest time. So on the tie-break, Adam Raga will run first through the 6 sections. This will be the most difficult of all, as befits the grand final. Some of them run in both directions. They have to exit the section, turn around and go back again, and all within that 1 minute time allowance, of course. Adam Raga's assistant in position alongside section number 1. Here we go for the grand final.
This one then, repeat of section 1 from rounds 1 and 2, but in both directions. So, although it was one of the shortest sections in the previous stages, it becomes a little bit more challenging having to be done in both directions. Raga has made it look fairly straightforward though so far. It's in the return direction where the riders will have greater difficulty. We've seen a couple of riders snag on marks for dabs through here, but section number 1 in general should be fairly straightforward for both of these riders. Adam Raga, ready. Dear. That's a single mark drop there for footing. Left foot going down for Adam Raga on the second step of the section. And it's a drop mark for Adam Raga, an errant one for Raga in section number 1, not what he planned.
His assistant got a bit close there on that second half of the section, I think, but I don't think that would have affected Raga's riding. 1 mark dropped so far, though. Toni Bo will now head into section number 1 to try and take an early advantage if he can clean this first section on this X-Trial Bilbao.
I can't help but feel that Raga will be quite frustrated about that, because he'd already made it through and across that obstacle without too many difficulties. Now he's going to be relying on errors from Toni Bo, and errors from Toni Bo are often infrequent. So far so good for Toni Bo then in this grand final, with an opportunity to take a single mark lead with 5 sections still to come. Bo, multi-time winner here in Spain, was really battered leaving Barcelona. Had to seek medical intervention partway through the event just to be able to keep going through the grand final. Oh dear, Bo has dropped a mark for leaning. Now he's got to make it up this step that cost Raga a mark. Raga's not even watching Toni Bo through this section number 1. He's building up, thinking about himself. On the next one, oh, Bo for a moment there looked like he might drop another mark, but he managed to save it on the back wheel nicely. So it's 1 apiece after section number 1. The neutrals are rubbing their hands together. It's going to be another close one here tonight.
Well, in Barcelona at one stage it looked like it was going to a tie-break. That could be a distinct possibility tonight, I reckon here. We've never had a tie-break for a victory in an X-Trial event to my knowledge, but could we see that tonight? We thought it was going to happen in Barcelona. In the event there was just 1 mark in it in favour of Adam Raga, who is about to take on the blue modules of section 2.
First step then for Adam Raga, and making that look pretty straightforward. This section number 2, at the moment he's on section 2 from round 1, so this side of the section should be the easier, and that is indeed the quicker. Plenty of time still to go. Now, in this direction, the section was completed in the consolation final, of course. And it was this first step that posed the riders problems, particularly for Jaime Busto. It's 2 marks for Adam Raga. 1 for footing, 1 for leaning. In fact, I think just trying to catch a glimpse as to whether that's 2 or 3 that's currently called. Certainly 2 marks, but I don't think Raga's going to get to the end anyway. Less than 10 seconds on the clock, and the Minders had to catch the bike. So in the end, whether that was 2 marks or 3 marks earlier in the section proves academic, because Raga drops down to a failure, runs out of time. Now Toni Bo, having qualified as the top seed to this grand final, has the advantage here because he knows how to pace himself. Raga's given him the indication of that.
It's again that first step in the reverse direction. Benoit Bincaz and Jaime Busto couldn't get over that in the consolation final. Adam Raga just about scrambled over it, but then failed on the very next obstacle. And now, can Toni Bo achieve the seemingly impossible as he has so many times in the past on the way to his record 58 ex-trial victories?
Adam Raga was saying earlier on that in the grand final some of the sections just would not be achievable within the 1 minute time allowance. Let's see if Toni Bo can make the impossible possible. He knows he's got to be efficient and swift through the first half of this section number 2 because he's going to need plenty of time to make it back in the other direction. 40 seconds. Raga was on in more or less the same position in terms of time at this stage, so I don't think Toni Bo's going to do much better than Adam Raga here in section number 2. Halfway through the section, halfway through the time allowance, Bo's made it up spectacularly. The first step of the second half of this section number 2, but he's only got 20 seconds to make it over 2 giant wheels and to the finish. Just over 10 seconds now for Bo. He probably would have been better to rush and scramble with legs akimbo. Bo is going to do it! He's done it! Toni Bo, with 3 seconds remaining on the clock, has done it! Who was I to say he'd better go? Because he knew he'd paced himself perfectly, and that is spot on from Toni Bo. He's back to his best.
It's just impossible to put into words, isn't it? We are watching one of the greatest motorcyclists of all time here in Toni Bo. Well, how's Adam Raga going to come back from that? Into the timber yard.
Great difficulty, I think, is the answer. This one we've already seen this section. Section 2 from the consolation final. The wood there moving under Raga's back wheel as he works his way through. Just over 40 seconds still on the clock. Fairly long section, this one. The riders both made it through in the consolation final. Jaime Busto dropping a mark and Benoit Bincaz clean. Doesn't make too much difference in terms of their performances when it comes to the grand final, but it does give us a barometer of what is a good score in this section number 3. Clean is always a good score, and that's what Raga's going to achieve in section number 3. Clean, first clean of the lap for Adam Raga there, as he reaches the halfway mark in his grand final lap.
Yes, Raga tries to recover then. Let's see what Toni Bo can do.
5 marks the lead for Toni Bo coming into section number 3. Of course, any drop marks here narrows the gap between the 2 riders, but at the moment, Bo's got a section in hand.
The only thing that might stop him here could be a splinter in one of his tyres from those pieces of wood. I doubt that will happen.
Toni Bo then into section number 3. Again, those crates moving underneath the weight of the bike. Possibly underneath the weight of the muscle as well. Making his way through. As we said earlier, defeated in Barcelona, a rare defeat in Spain. For Toni Bo, a measure of his character to bounce back here tonight and in fight style as well after challenging round number 1. Round number 2, he made it look fairly straightforward in the end. This grand final, he leads it by 5. We haven't seen an extra won by 5 marks or more so far this season, but Bo is still going to lead it by 5 at the halfway mark in this grand final. We've seen mistakes from Bo in the previous X-Trial events in 2019. We've seen no mistake in this grand final so far.
As Toni Bo inch perfect through the timber yard there. We get ready now for Adam Raga to rejoin us for section number 4. Seen this one in both directions already tonight, starting with the A-frame this time, and ending on that ramp at the end.
Slightly different configuration for Section 4 in the grand final. This is a repeat of Section 3 from round number 2, but this first step, the riders are not allowed to use the red block that you can see there just to the side of the A-frame. They have to go slamming up in one move. First step. Raga makes it, but as you can see, with some difficulty, and the bike just moving around on top as much as it likes, and that's 2 marks that have been given. 1 for the sump, and of course 1 for the right foot that Adam Raga's got balancing at the top of the section. He's trying to shake the bike off almost the top of this A-frame because he doesn't want to drop any more marks. Toni Bow watching on to see how it's done. Nice work from Adam Raga to eventually get over. A more challenging step. And this is more challenging as well. The riders are obliged to use that red block that you can see Adam Raga is on, that they weren't obliged to use earlier on in the evening. Greater level of difficulty for the final. Raga is up. It's going to be 3 marks scored, but he's made it through at very least. Third section completed of the lap for Adam Raga, just that 1 failure so far. 9 marks is the score. Bow is 8 marks in front.
So the new configuration catching out Adam Raga somewhat there. That was a rather messy effort at that first A-frame. Struggled over it and was okay for the rest of the section. Dropped 1 more mark. He's on 9 so far for the lap. Can Toni Bow get over this new part of the section at the beginning of this section number 4?
First step critical then here for Toni Bow. Adam Raga having dropped 3 marks on this section. Taking his time before going into section number 4, and he's straight up and straight over. How high he hit that A-frame as well. Incredible leap. Second step of section number 4. Oh, he's looking good here. 2 steps. If Bow can manage this section clean, he'll still be 8 marks in front with 2 sections to go. He'll be within touching distance of victory at the first ever X-Trial Bilbao. Half of the time allowance still to go. He is going to take a mark for leaning. He is human. Toni Bow with just a single mark dropped in section number 4. 2 marks for the lap so far, 7 marks clear.
Well, some are worrying Bow might still be suffering the effects of that back injury he suffered in Barcelona. Of course, suffered back injuries at the end of last season as well. Those worries have been completely unfounded so far. This is another virtuoso display from Toni Bow here this evening as we get ready for the penultimate section of this X-Trial Bilbao.
For the records, and for those of you who like these statistical nuggets, Toni Bow has always been the leader at the midway point in each of his X-Trial Championship winning campaigns. After tonight, we'll be at the midway point of the 2019 season. Adam Raga into section number 5. This a mixture of section 5 from round 2 and section 4 from round 1. But the riders will be jumping down onto the floor in this direction and not the other. This should be an accessible section. But if Adam Raga were to fail, Toni Bow would have already won the X-Trial with 2 sections to spare. Toni Bow's maximum score now is 12. Adam Raga sits on 9. So if he drops 3 marks on this step even, that would pose him a problem. Of course, this now familiar step, so often repeated here tonight. Adam Raga's already managed this earlier on here tonight. Adam Raga looking to do it again. He's up. Nicely done from Adam Raga. He can be rightly pleased with that performance in section number 5. As his earlier failure in section 2 cost him though here tonight. Toni Bow with an opportunity to wrap up the X-Trial in the penultimate section. He has a 7-mark lead. He only needs a 5-mark lead, of course, going in to section number 6. So a maximum of 1 drop mark here for Toni Bow, and he will be victorious here at X-Trial Bilbao.
Here we go then. What could be the deciding run at the inaugural X-Trial Bilbao here in the Vizcaya Arena? Can Toni Bow take his 59th X-Trial win of his career?
First step, and a nervous start to the section. He aborted that landing somewhat. He obviously wasn't satisfied with his run-up. He's going to have a second go, and at the second attempt he makes it. Just to give the heart a little flutter, to remind you that anything is possible in elite-level motorsport. And Toni Bow doesn't want to drop on marks here, but he is going to take one. Adam Raga did this clean, remember, so that puts Toni Bow onto 3. If he drops another, it's going to a last section decider. 6 is now the gap between the two of them. Bow versus Raga. Bow needs to remain faultless on this step now to guarantee victory. With a section to spare, 15 seconds on the clock as well. Time is a factor. Toni Bow, who judged section number 2 so spectacularly well to pull out a 5-mark lead earlier on here tonight, cannot make the step, and he's down to a 5. And we really are going down to a last section decider, and with just 2 marks between our 2 contenders. Toni Bow is not happy, not sure what with. But he looked, it was a grimace as he went down, Dave.
That was a nasty fall there. He landed on his back once again, just as he did in Barcelona, but he was straight back up and appears to be okay. Just 2 marks in it now. Bow on 7, Raga on 9, going into section number 6. It's down to the wire again. Raga to go first.
2 marks in it. And just as we were getting carried away talking about Toni Bow's 59th career win, and it was all looking oh so comfortable, Bow with a 7-mark margin, that's the type of error we've seen from Bow this season that we haven't seen in past campaigns. He is not at his best, Toni Bow. And Adam Raga has an opportunity to take advantage of it here. Into section number 6. This is a somewhat hybrid section. Bits of this section we've seen already earlier on tonight. Section 5 from round 1, bit of section 4 from the consolation final, which is the part of the section that Adam Raga's about to tackle now. Hear the purr of the machine. 30 seconds to go. Both riders were clean in this direction in the consolation final. Raga then will need to wait for a mistake from Toni Bow in the last ride of the last section. Less than 20 seconds to go. He's going to do it. Raga heaps the pressure back onto Bow. We're going to the last section of the night here in Bilbao.
Shades of Barcelona here. What a season we are having. Just 4 marks in it between these 2 riders in Budapest. 1 mark between the 2 of them in Barcelona in favour of Adam Raga. He's finished on 9 marks, has Raga. Now, Toni Bow, 2 marks to play with. If he drops 3 here, Raga wins. If he drops 2, we're going to a tie-break.
All eyes on Toni Bow, the man on a mission here. For the record, the section that the riders are currently in is also the tie-break section, I believe. Toni Bow, so far so good. Still clean at the halfway mark in section number 6. You would have expected a clean on paper in this one on the evidence of what we'd seen through here earlier in the night. Toni Bow really rattled his chances with an unexpected failure in section number 5, but he looks set to get things back in track in the final section of the evening. And that much talked about 59th career victory is here. Toni Bow wins the inaugural X-Trial Bilbao and will be our championship leader at the halfway mark in 2019. Nosing ahead of Adam Raga, just 2 marks in it here this evening. Nothing to choose between these 2. And as you said, it's going to be a season to remember this one.
It certainly is, yes. The 2 riders exchange congratulations as Toni Bow begins to celebrate a superb victory here in Bilbao.
Toni Bow then finishing with a 7-mark score compared to a 9-mark score for Adam Raga. Toni Bow victorious at the first ever X-Trial Bilbao.
Toni, congratulations, you are back on the win, but very, very tough final, eh? Yeah, for sure. It's very difficult to ride the final with Adam. I think he's a very strong rider. I have a big mistakes in the last section. I touched another place with my engine and take the 5 finally. But I think in the last section, many pressure after Barcelona. I think for me it's very important, this victory.
You are now in the lead of the championship.
Yes, the championship is just arrived to the middle, and now it's time for recuperation. My little problem for the injury in Barcelona, but I think this victory is big motivation for me.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well, I already called that nugget of information earlier on that Toni Bo has never been headed once he has led at a halfway distance in a championship. He leads at the halfway distance in the 2019 series. The winner in the grand final of X-Trail Bilbao, Toni Bo, by just a 2-mark score, surviving a nervous moment in section number 5 with that failure and doing the job when it mattered in section number 6. We have seen those odd errors creep in, though, for Toni Bo this season, and it means he's vulnerable with 3 rounds still to come.
Well, it's going to be a fantastic second half to this season as Toni Bo cuts loose in celebration. The Mexican wave following him around the arena here in Bilbao. Wonderful scenes here at the Vizcaya Arena with 3 rounds still to go in Granada, Marseille and Andorra la Vella. There is the championship, the confirmed results, I should say, from tonight's event.
Official results then here this evening. Toni Bo, Adam Raga and Burnout Bincaz are your podium finishers. Bincaz beating Jaime Busto in the consolation final. The 2 riders eliminated in round number 2, Mikel Gelabert and Gironi Fajardo. Gabriel Marcelli, Luca Petrella and Sondre Haga eliminated in round number 1. Marcelli, though, with a strong performance with 7th position here tonight. And as for the championship standings, it will be Toni Bo who leads us away with 2 wins compared to only 1 for Adam Raga. Remember, though, that at the end of this season, each rider's poorest performance will be taken away. That makes things look a little bit tighter overall than they are in these progressive standings. Jaime Busto takes a lead from 3rd position of 5 points over Gironi Fajardo. Burnout Bincaz with a big 12 this evening becomes the 5th different rider to make it onto the podium in 2019 and therefore sits in 5th position overall, just a point now from Gironi Fajardo. Burnout Bincaz once again consistent this season as he was in 2018. Mikel Gelabert with 1 round fewer on the board this season, and he's therefore still got work to do. Further down the order, some of our event riders, and included among those event riders Luca Petrella and Sondre Haga, who finished in the basement positions here tonight. Well, tough night for them, of course, in the opening round. We saw things go to plan in the opening round, but didn't quite go to plan from there on in. Burnout Bincaz in particular with an impressive performance. As for that grand final, things seemed to be going to plan for Toni Bo, but they didn't quite in the end. Section number 5 catching Bo out for a fall. Adam Raga was the first rider out. His failure in section number 2 proving critical to his chances. Bo moving 5 marks in front at that stage, and here's Toni Bo's fall. Spectacular one in section number 5, and Dave talked earlier on about Bo's back injury woes. Back injury seeing him miss X-Trail Budapest last season. Back injury again, inflicting pain on him in the latter stages of X-Trail Barcelona. But he got back to his feet, he completed a clean in section number 6, and now, with not much time until the next round, Toni Bo has a brief opportunity to celebrate.
Yes, the podium ceremony will be taking place very shortly then, and first forward onto the podium will be the first non-Spaniard to feature on a podium in this 2019 X-Trail season. Burnout Bincaz, one of his best ever X-Trail performances, a superb victory over Jaime Busto in the consolation final. Adam Raga steps up in 2nd place, never out of the top 2 so far this year and never out of the top 3 for the past 16 seasons. But once again, an X-Trail in his homeland belongs to the master. Toni Bo takes the top step of the podium here at X-Trail Bilbao 2019.
First ever X-Trail Bilbao has provided us with plenty of excitement in 2019, and another tight final, just 2 marks in it. The fans can't ask for much more than that, and let's hope that things carry on in the same vein throughout the remainder of this 2019 season. In the second half of the campaign, we'll go to Granada, Marseille and Andorra for the season finale. And it's Benoit Bincaz who'll be looking forward to that Marseille event, I'm quite sure, in home territory in France. Benoit Bincaz then, the first rider to receive a trophy here tonight, gets third position, his third career podium, his first of 2019. A man with the podium record is the next man up to receive a trophy. Adam Raga securing his 107th career podium. It's not the step of the podium he would have wanted, but another night on which he's pushed Toni right down to the final section, just 2 marks in it in the end. The biggest X, the biggest trophy, reserved for Toni Bo, only by a 2-mark margin, but those scores will matter little. It's the 20 championship points that Toni Bo came here searching for, and it's the 20 championship points that he takes away with him from Bilbao. The first ever X-Trail Bilbao sees Toni Bo back to winning ways.